Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today is day number 72 of our 100 Days of Magic. And today we're going to take a look at Judgment. Judgment was the next, right after Torment. It came out in May of 2002. 143 cards, 44 rare, 44 uncommon, 55 common. And it had similar themes, flashback, threshold, things like that. However, as where Torment was known as the black set, clever people who were keeping up at the time between Onslaught, Torment, they could figure out that if they were going to level out the block, the last set was the time to do it. So in Judgment, black kind of got downshifted, and there were more white and green cards to kind of level off the whole block. So let's get in it. Commander Isha, flying and protection from creatures for your 4-mana 2/4. Now, where I went with this deck was protection from creatures is kind of, we see protection from color, protection from artifacts every once in a while, but protection from creatures is, we saw the 1/1 a couple sets ago, but it's not that common. So what I did was I built weird protection. Just a whole deck full of just like weird protections. I even have like circle protection land in there. I don't know, just in case. But that was how I built Isha. We have Glory. This was actually the pre-release card. This was at a time when they were doing alternate language, non-English pre-release cards. It was gorgeous. Oh my gosh, this card's gorgeous. The one I've got, I believe, is in a chroma? Maybe? I'm not sure. It might be in Weird Protection, now thinking about it. But it's an amazing card. Now, Judgment had a cycle of creatures, one per each color, that only worked in the graveyard. Like, if you'll finish reading this ability, it's 3 mana, creatures you control gain protection from the color of your choice to end the turn. Play this ability only if Glory is in your graveyard. And they all had like one-word names. They were all incarnations. And I don't think there's a bad one in the bunch, to be honest with you. Golden Wish. Now, wishes, while not banned in our format of EDH, they are... How they work depends on your play group. If you will look at the mtgcommander.net is the RC rules, and Sheldon and the rest of the rules committee have them all posted there. You'll see that they're not banned, but you will also see in there that they encourage house rules and variants and, things to make it fun, because that's what we're doing. And I currently don't have any wishes in any decks. There are these 5, and then there's one years later in Future Sight. And there's some other cards that deal with outside the game cards. Now, I would recommend, before you run them, talk to your play group about it, see what everybody's okay with. Some people take it from literally as it's written. You own outside the game any card. Some formats in 60 cards, we would run these and have like a sideboard of 15 different cards that we would call a wish board. But it just depends on your local play group and how they want to interpret it, Oh, but this one gets an artifact or an enchantment. All of them do something slightly different. Now, put target enchant creature card from a graveyard into play, enchanting a creature you control. Now, odds are if you are running Aura Matters deck, then probably you're going to be picking from your graveyard, but there are auras that, your opponents might have that you might want. Nomad Mythmaker, pretty decent card. Silver Seraph. Now, 8 mana for a 6/6 flyer is kind of insane, but first off, the artwork is beautiful, and if you've ever seen this in foil, it just makes you happy. And other creatures you control getting +2/+2 for threshold that's all up where I want to be. But it does die to a Doomblade. Of course, most things do. Solitary Confinement. Now, I used to think this card was worse than it is. That was before the EDH days for me personally. At the beginning of your upkeep, sack this unless you discard a card from your hand. Okay, so it's going to cost you a card every turn. Skip your draw step. Okay, so now it's costing us cards. We don't get to draw anymore, and eventually it's going to die. But you have Shroud, and you can't take damage. Now, I paired this with green with Recycle, another card that makes you skip your draw step, but every time you played a card, you get to draw a card. Black has a exact copy of Recycle, only it's not on the reserve list, and it's black. And blue has copy enchantment, so in, 3 colors, pick your 3, you can potentially have 2 recycle effects and come out netting. Now that's just one aspect. There are many, many other ways to abuse this. I've seen people go black-white and use Necropotence to put the cards in your hand since you're already skipping your draw step for both cards. Necropotence in a 40 life format is really good too. So many ways to abuse this, and the fact that you have Shroud and can't take damage is generally used to buy you enough turns to draw the cards that you need to assemble your game-winning combo or board state of some sort. Test of Endurance. Now that we are in the last set of the block, I want to talk about the alternate win conditions. This block had 5, 1 per each color. Now, I didn't cover Battle of the Wits because it's not really relevant in our format until there is a card that says you may add any number of basic lands to your deck from outside the game. When that happens, when they print that card, I will build a Battle of the Wits EDH deck. I'll have to have a second deck box just for islands, but I will do it. Now, here, at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 50 or more life, you win the game. Wow. This really seems like this should be banned. Well, I don't know. It's 4 mana, and we start at 40, so logically speaking, you're going to get touched at some point in time. I liken it to that, what's the 6 mana creature that says you win if you're at 40 during your upkeep? I mean, I've never been able to get that off, and I play with that in a ton of decks. So, Test of Endurance, while not bad, in a deck devoted to life gain, it's probably where it belongs. However, we kind of have insulation from crazy life gain decks in the form of commander damage and or infect, if you will. Unquestioned Authority. Now, I have used this card so much, y'all know this, longtime watchers, that I've used all my Judgment copies, and I've had to go to the reprint now. It's a great card just simply because it does replace itself when it comes into play, and it makes your creature unblockable. And turns it into a super blocker, actually. Valor is the white. White got 2 incarnations? Oh, well, this one doesn't require payment. So, it's the 4 mana 2/2 with the color ability First Strike. And then if it's in your graveyard and you control the planes, your team has First Strike. This is the one there's a cycle of. Cunning Wish. It's the blue one. It's the blue wish. It gets you the instant from outside the game. Spelljack. Man, I'm telling you what. I once had a time stretch Spelljack. I spent the 10 mana hard casting time stretch and somebody Spelljacked it. And I didn't even feel bad. I was like, you know what? That's what I get for introducing that card to the game. But Spelljack is, while it reads like a 6 mana counter spell, it is such a tempo hit because not only do they not get the spell, you get it. Granted, you're out this card, but there's a good chance the card you're trading this for is probably going to win you the game. Wonder is the blue one. As long as you got an island, and it's in your graveyard. Your team's got flying now. I believe Wonder was actually an F&M promo at one point in time, and it's been reprinted a couple times, and I run the heck out of it, especially in decks where you're just looting a bunch. Might as well. This is our minion guy here, Balthar the Defiled. Oh, by the way, Phage is a minion. Sorry about that last time. I really mean it this time. But triple black and you exile him. Each player returns all black and all red creature cards from his or her graveyard to play. Now, for our purposes, him being the commander, that red part doesn't really matter to us. Now, it does name 2 of the 5 creatures, or 2 of the 5 colors, rather. So that's why I'm thinking my Balthor the Defiled deck ran a lot of graveyard exiling, to where you could nuke the appropriate yards that had a lot of black and or red creatures in them, so that you were the only one getting the effect from Balthor. Cabal Therapy. Now, I've got this on here not because it's an EDH All-Star, but because it is in the limelight a little bit with Modern Horizons having Cabal Therapist. It's kind of a riff off of this card. While arguably not as good, it's not bad. This is the card right here, though. I mean, Filth is the black one. Swamp Walk is what it gives your team. Anger gives haste. The red Burning Wish gets you a sorcery. Now, Jessica. Jessica is chilling in the unused general binder, mainly because I'm having trouble figuring out what to do with her. I don't want to build another barbarian deck because those are just seem so lackluster. I don't know how to build this deck. Is her hair red? I haven't done redheads. I don't know if that's... Chandra's a redhead. I might be able to pull redheads off. I don't know. Two-hand weapons, there's that. Just badasses in general, to be honest with you. But anyway, I mean, she's Kamal's sister, so yeah, she has a temper of steel. But anyway, 3-1 for 4, first strike haste, and she taps to deal 1 damage. I don't... there's a give it death touch aspect, maybe? And that way, you know, she just pops creatures. You could give her, you know, infect, where she could pop player. I don't know. I'll figure it out. World Gorger Dragon. Okay. It took a while for me to understand how the combo worked. It literally had to be explained to me because I've never owned a World Gorger Dragon until they explained it to me, and I went, oh my gosh, I got to get one. Well, first off, it's a nightmare, so Chainer is your boy. But you got to be playing black and red. Now, when World Gorger Dragon comes into play, by any means, that's not from your hand. That's when it enters the battlefield, remove all other permanents you control from the game. They're all gone. All you have is World Gorger Dragon. When World Gorger Dragon leaves play, you return all those removed cards into play under your control. So here's what you do. You're going to entomb or buried alive or draw and discard. You're somehow going to get your World Gorger Dragon into your graveyard. Now, you've probably... This is not a turn 1 or turn 2 thing. You don't entomb it and then do it on turn 2. No. You've got a board setup you've got to do. You've got to have, like, a few enchantments. Pandemonium type enchantments. What is that? In the Web of War also works. There's several enchantments that do it. What you're looking for is an enchantment that says when a creature comes into play, it deals damage to target. That's what you're looking for. So, you go through, you put your World Gorger Dragon into the graveyard, and then you cast your Animate Dead, or similar card, but it's got to be an enchantment. So we're going to say Animate Dead for the purposes of this. You play Animate Dead. Targeting World Gorger Dragon, World Gorger Dragon comes into play and exiles everything else. And Animate Dead says when Animate Dead goes, so does the creature it enchants. So as soon as the Animate Dead goes, the World Gorger Dragon goes. And everything comes back, and your Animate Dead comes back, and you target the World Gorger Dragon with your Animate Dead, and then the World Gorger Dragon removes the Animate Dead, and you keep doing this. I hate to use the term ad nauseum. They did that on the one of the podcasts I listened to. But it's not infinite as long as you can target something else in your graveyard. You have the option of keeping this alive. This little, wheel going here, this combo. So make sure you have another creature in the graveyard, or you have a way to instant speed respond to it of some sort. Once you demonstrate one loop, probably the path and the swords are going to come out anyway. So there's a good chance that unless you've perfectly sculpted the time to do this, and oh look, everybody magically happens to be tapped out, it's probably one of your two things is you're getting Crows and Gripped, or you're getting sorted or something. But it's fun. I like it. It caused me to want to explore other World Gorger shenanigans, although I haven't yet because, time is a commodity. Brawn. Okay, I love Trample. Trample is... I classify it as an evasion ability because it makes people not want to block. Oh, so you mean my guy's going to die and I'm still going to take damage? It's kind of evasion. Crush of Worms. Now, here's one that I don't think sees a whole lot of play. Yes, it is a 9-mana sorcery, but it gets you 18 power worth of creatures across 3 bodies. And that matters for things like Overrun, Trump of the Hordes, whatever have you. So, and, it flashes back for like 12, but honestly, if you can pay the 9 to cast it, then you're probably not going to have a problem playing the 12. And if you've got doubling shenanigans going on, this gets sick in a hurry. Epic Struggle is the green instant win from this block. And y'all just seen this in one of my decks. I believe Vanifar had this because I wanted a weird Vanifar thing instead of a pod thing. So I did a pod Epic Struggle, which was a struggle to build, and it probably won't pan out once I start to play it. I may have to modify it a little bit to beef up a little more. But anyway, beginning of your upkeep, if you control 20 dudes, you win the game. Hey, why not? Now, this is a card. Josh over at Command Zone is a firm believer in Veldalken Ore, and this is a card where you need Veldalken Ore, the instant win card, the Mortal Kombat, and the Epic Struggle, and the Test of Endurance, anything that checks at the beginning of your upkeep, because normally you would have to play this during your main phase, wait an entire table revolution for people to have responses and answers to it, because odds are you're not throwing it out there without the conditions met. So having that Veldalken Ore out there and being able to flash this in during the end step of the turn before you really helps your odds of pulling it off. Living Wish gets a creature or land from outside the game. Seed Time. I have put this card in so many decks. It makes a lot of version 1.0s of decks, and I play and play and play. And as many decks as I put this in, I've never drawn it. Somebody playing a blue spell is not a hard condition to meet. If an opponent played a blue spell this turn, now, it's got to be your turn. They've got to play a blue spell on your turn. If somebody's playing blue, that's not hard to accomplish. Because this is typically, I play my threat, you counter my threat. Okay, Seed Time, guys. This is what we're doing. Anyway, it sounds good in practice. I'm sure it's a decent card if I would ever draw it. Thriss, Nantuko Primus. Insect Druid. I'm not sure if I went Druids with this or if I went Insects with this, but I know... Wait a minute, is Thriss even built? I listed the first 180 decks today on Twitter, and I don't recall seeing Thriss in the first 180. So, maybe I don't have Thriss built. Seems familiar, though, because I probably played it back then. Oh, we're in gold now. Now, this is... Whoa. It literally does nothing unless you have Threshold, which that is kind of a reason why this is an enchantment I don't have a problem running out there on turn 2, because what does that do? Well, right now, it don't do anything until I have Threshold, and you can actually read the card, and they're like, but you don't have Threshold, so it does nothing. And they instantly kind of turn it off in their mind. But once you got Threshold, what? Plays a spell. Plays a spell. And you get to put a creature card from your hand into play. So you play a spell and I get to one-shot Eureka? Okay. I'm down with it. Love Hunting Grounds. This was the set that gave us Mirari's Wake. I am telling you what, the Mirari doesn't stop. And it's an amazing card because it combines the Anthem with the mana doubling. So the personal Anthem and the personal mana doubling. That's what makes it so strong. Crozen Verge. Now, I like Crozen Verge. It does come into play tapped. You spin 2, you sack it, and you get a forest card and a plains card. Now, it does not say basic, so people typically go and get their ABUR duels or their shocks or whatever have you. But it is a land that can get you 2. Riftstone Portal. Now, I play Riftstone Portal in more decks than I think I should, probably. Realistically speaking, unless you have a way to reliably get this in your graveyard, typically if we're playing white-green, we're not going to have a lot of looting effects. But if we have Zuran Orb type sack a land effects or Constant Mist. This is another reason why Constant Mist is amazing. Cast Constant Mist, no creatures deal damage this turn, sack a land to buy it back. Sack Riftstone Portal. That's the way to do it. And that's what we've got for Judgment. Like I said, it was a small set. It concluded the Odyssey block. And next we will get to, I don't know, whatever day tomorrow is. Tomorrow's day number 73. But I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.